Hey guys, it's Sarah from It's Always Beautiful, and I'm making this video for anybody who feels like they don't know who they are. Most people have been there, a lot of people are still there, and I hope that in this video I can give you some ideas on what you can do to figure out who you are and what you want to do with the time you have here in this life. I just want to start out by saying that so many of us are lost. We have been caught up in trying to survive, trying to make the money, trying to make the ends meet, trying to crunch the paperwork, trying to work to get somewhere in life, trying to prove ourselves, trying to get the best car maybe, or the best house, or trying to become and prove that we're worth something. And that's what a lot of us are doing on this chase. Then we get lost and we don't do the things we enjoy. We don't know what we enjoy. We get caught up in parenthood. We get caught up in our careers. We get caught up in the mundane, ultimately just not even what's really the most important thing, which is you and who you are and what you enjoy. And so I'm going to be going through some things you can do right now that can help you in a very kind of realistic, sensible way. It's not too out there. The first thing that I recommend is taking a personality test. And I know this may seem like duh, but like there is something called the Myers-Briggs personality test, and it is a really accurate, really well-studied test, and it's something that you should take. And I'll put a link in the description for one of the test websites. So the Myers-Briggs personality test figures out 4 different parts of your personality. And it's whether you're introverted or extroverted, whether you're intuitive or sensing, whether you are feeling or thinking, and whether you are perceiving or judging. And through those 4 things, it figures out so much about you. It gives you a list of different careers, different hobbies, and then once you read them, you might be like, yeah, that's totally me. And like deep down, you might already know who you are. It's just you're afraid to step into it. So this can be a good validation of who you are. If you take the test and you take these 4 different personality traits, and so it'll be a combination of letters. So it'll be like INFJ, ESTP, ENFJ, and then when you get those all together, it gives you your overall personality. So real quick, if you don't know this information, introvert versus extrovert. So an introvert is somebody who recharges their energy by being alone, and then an extrovert is somebody who recharges their energy by being around people. So it's kind of like social butterflies, an extrovert, and then like the wallflowers, an introvert. And then there's intuitive and sensing. So an intuitive person, they go about making their decisions. They go about the world around them by having intuitive feelings. They're very, very intuitive. It's like you're kind of in your head more, inside your body. You're inside more. And sensing is you sense what's around you. You sense out what's going on, your surroundings. They're the people who are more like, oh wow, look at that. Like that's amazing. And then the more intuitive person's like, what? I didn't see that, you know? Sensing is being outside of your body, looking around at what's going on about you. Feeling and thinking. So feeling is more of when you make your decisions and when you go about your life, you feel a lot. And then thinking is the opposite. So you're thinking and you're reasoning, and you're more likely to make your decisions by thinking through and coming to, like, you might do more research, more logical thinking, while a feeling type person would make decisions by just feeling like that's what's right. And then there's judging and perceiving. So judging is more of looking around and making analytical judgments, and then perceiving is more of just like looking around and perceiving what's happening. And so those are the 4 things. You get a combination of letters, and then it'll give you a list of so much. And like so when I was reading through mine, I was just like, yes, that's me, that's me, that's me. How does it know? How does it know? Once you figure out what your personality is, read it, get to know it, and then read all the other ones, and you'll start seeing, oh, this sounds just like my dad. This sounds just like my brother. This sounds just like my cousin. And then when you're with them, you understand them better and the way they think. So like if you're feeling and you know that your dad is thinking, and you're with him, and the way that you interact, you can tell that you're the one that's feeling things out and he's the one that's thinking things out, and then that's why you guys are having like a confrontation. Or yes, you're right, that study does make sense. You know, I just like to go with my gut feelings, and he won't understand you and your gut feelings because he's thinking. So it can help when you are relating to other people and how to communicate effectively with other people, as well as figuring out who you are and who everybody else is in relation to you. I'm just kind of really motivated by this right now. It's really interesting to me. So the second thing you can do is take the love language test. So Gary Chapman has a book called The 5 Love Languages. And if you don't have time to read the book, there's tons of tests online to take. So the 5 love languages is physical touch, gift giving, quality time, acts of love and service, and words. I don't think that needs much of an explanation. So basically, you feel loved the most by one of these 5 things. Say like my love language is gift giving, and my husband's love language is words, and I'm just giving him gifts and giving him gifts, and because that's my love language, so I'm buying him gifts. And he doesn't want gifts. He wants to be a minimalist, and he's like, oh God, this is annoying. She doesn't listen to me. I told her over and over again that I want to be a minimalist, and now like I feel like I'm not being heard, and I feel like she doesn't love me because I'm using my words, and I'd rather her just say I love you. And so he would be saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, and all I want is a gift to feel loved. And so we're not communicating, we're literally speaking different language in that situation. It's really cool to learn about this so you know what yours is, so you can communicate with people around you what your love language is, and then you're aware that their love language might be something else, and to be considerate of that and to try and speak their language. Okay, so the third thing is finding out what your control drama is. So all of us in the world have a way in which we deal with trying to control each other. And it's all subconscious. It's not something that we think about on like a conscious level. We are doing it subconsciously. And the first time this control drama theory came up was in a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and then there's some psychological studies about it. And it's just a really interesting phenomenon to me. Basically, each control drama is rooted by our deepest fear. When we are reacting through fear and we're trying to control people, this is the way we tend to act. And you'll start seeing it in other people and in yourself once you learn about it. And I took this $10 like course, and I'll put the link in the description, and it really just opened my eyes, and I was just like, wow, like I just saw the world in a whole new lens. The 4 control dramas are aloof, poor me, interrogator, and intimidator. Real quick, I'll go through them. So aloof, the aloof's greatest fear is giving away too much information. And this tends to be people who were criticized a lot, who were blamed a lot, who kind of want to go hide in the corner because they are afraid that they're going to give away too much information and get bullied. And so what they do to control people is they are aloof. They pretend like they're not in situations, they ignore people, they're the kind of people who won't text you back right away. Poor me's greatest fear is their needs won't be met, that their needs won't be met. And this is generally people who grew up with emotional or physical neglect, who grew up with a very harsh parent, who grew up in like a harsher kind of reality, and they tend to try and get people's sympathy because that's maybe the only thing that worked with the people in their lives. And so they'll be the kind of people who, when you're around them, you feel guilty that you're not making them happy, that you're not being enough, and they're kind of always just like, oh, you know, I'm having a hard time, and I'm just... Interrogator, their greatest fear is the fear of abandonment. They're afraid people are going to leave them. And so what they do is they question everything. They'll be the ones who ask you a ton of questions, like, where are you going? What are you doing? What's going on? Or like, even if you're having a regular conversation and you're like, oh, the other day I went to the store, and they're like, oh, what store? What time? Where'd you go? What'd you buy? You know, they have these kind of need to know, these questions, trust kind of issues, and that's the way it kind of comes out, is they're very critical. And then the fourth one is the intimidator. Their greatest fear is that they are wrong. That's their greatest fear. And so they're the people who, when you're in a conversation and they end up being wrong, they will never ever admit that they're being wrong. They'll do everything they can. They'll blame, they'll scapegoat, they'll yell, and their greatest fear is being wrong. And these are usually the people who need to be like head of the household, people who are in charge. These are the people who they come in and they kind of are overbearing, immediately take charge of the situation. You know, when you're around them, you feel like you're being controlled and it doesn't feel good. Of course, who you are is a combination of who you are at birth and then the things that you go through in this life and that affect how you behave. The control dramas, though, are kind of just because of your fear. So if you get over that fear, you won't act out the control dramas. And there could be a world where nobody has control dramas if everybody would address their biggest fears and address which control drama they are and then move past them. And then the last thing, the fourth thing that I think you should check out, which is kind of maybe the most far out there one, is astrology. And so growing up, I never believed in astrology. I was a Leo, and every time I read anything about Leo, it said that they were these like outgoing, loud personality types, take charge kind of leadership kind of personality, and that was just never me. And I just was like, it's a bunch of phooey. And so astrology, I feel like if this isn't for you, if this is like too far out there, then you could just skip this part. But if you are here and you feel like this is something you want to learn about, I feel like if you go to the right astrologer and you get the right information, it can be really relatable. But if you do more of like the horoscopes, magazine kind of like phooey kind of astrology, it's not really the real astrology. And keep in mind too that your sign may not be completely right, because I'm a Leo, but I'm actually a lot of Virgo also. So that's why none of it made sense to me. So I'm kind of like split in two there. I'm like Leo and a Virgo mixed together. I never told him that I never felt like I was a Leo, and that was the first thing he said. He's like, you maybe felt like you weren't a Leo because you're the way your chart is. I don't understand it completely, but the way my chart was, I was actually kind of split in two, a Leo and a Virgo. Okay, so those are the four things. It's the Myers-Briggs personality test, your love language, your control drama, and your astrology sign. And so those things can kind of point to what your personality is like and who you are on some kind of level. Keep in mind that this is all also just not definite. It's not like this is who you are, this is who you have to be, and this is bottom line. This is just kind of something that's fun, that can get you motivated, that can get you like more like in tune, that can validate things you already know about yourself that you're afraid to step into. So the point of this video is for you to think about these things, maybe take some of these tests, and to get to know who you are in relation to these. It will give you some ideas of maybe the things, the careers you could take, or the hobbies you can do, or what your talents are. It can validate for you what you feel, and then you can feel like there are other people in the world who feel just like you, even if you haven't found them yet. So I would love to know, if you take these tests and you figure out things about yourself, you can comment below. What was your results? What did you find out about yourself? Was it helpful? Was it interesting? Did you feel like you learned something about yourself? I'd really love to know. And in the next video, I am going to be telling you who I am, what my results for these tests were, and how it has helped me in my journey to living my true self and self-love. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it helped you, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and share this video so that other people can be helped as well. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.